listening to Sex Radio. You're listening to WXTD 92.3 X Radio. Alright, good evening. Here we are, top of the hour. I'm Alex Jones, and my co-host tonight.
Dr. Irving Theodoros of,
Alright, and tonight we are going to be interviewing a very, very, very important researcher in the field of tulpas. Yes, that's right. Tonight we're going to be talking about tulpas with Professor Rigardi.
Hello, good evening.
Oh, good evening, Professor. Good to have you on our show.
It's good to be on your show here, Alex.
Alright, so, well, tonight we'd, like to start things off. What is a tulpa?
So, basically, in a very, very simple, oversimplified sense, a tulpa is a kind of imaginary friend. Now, it's much more complicated than just thinking, imagining another person beside you. What a tulpa is it builds off of this idea that was developed by Tibetan Buddhist monks, which is called a thought form. And what a thought form is it's a being that is created out of your willpower and concentration and intention, and is a manifestation of your mind. And the idea of a thought form becomes a concrete, physical thing that actually exists.
Absolutely fascinating.
And
Amazing.
a tulpa is a thought form which has been advanced to the point where not only is it physically real, it actually has its own will.
That's fascinating. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
wow.
Alright, so right now, Dr. Theodoros, you're manning the phones. Do we have any questions from our online audience?
Let me see. Well, Terrell Bohr says, can I make my tulpa my GF?
Well, Harold, I would very strongly recommend against that, for the simple reason that when you create a tulpa, and if you developed it far enough to be able to be your girlfriend, it would be very dangerous to you psychologically and maybe even physically, to engage in a romantic relationship with your tulpa, because there's a lot of intense emotions going on in that exchange, and there's a lot of potential for very, very bad things to happen.
Interesting.
Alright, that is absolutely fascinating. Right now we have a caller on the line. David?
Yeah!
David, you're on the air.
That's
Hello
great!
and welcome.
I just bought this phone from the grocery store. And
That's fantastic, David. You don't have to shout. Just keep telling us what's going on, David.
Well, Alex, let me tell you. I was fascinated by the story of tulpas because I myself have been a collector for many years, and
Oh, really?
yeah, and the thing that kind of bothers me about it is doesn't come in different patterns. Because I'm trying to match the chic of my house because my cat is kind of a pouty mood, and I need to match that to its. Well, it has a mental disorder. It's bipolar, Alex.
That's fascinating. That sounds like it's probably something that Professor Rigardi would be able to tell us about. Professor, what can you tell us about Mr. David's cat?
Well, I would say that your problem Is your cat a tulpa? Is that what you're telling me, David?
No, it's more of a Democrat.
Are you sure that you're talking about a tulpa now?
Well, I ordered it off the Amazon.
I don't believe that you can rightly do that.
Could you order a tulpa online, Professor?
Well, if it physically exists, you could do more or less anything that you could do with any other physical object or being. But I don't see there being a market for such a thing, because a tulpa ideally is a very personal creation.
Fascinating.
Alex, I may have made a misjudgment. It turns out it's not a tulpa, but it's an LG coffee maker.
Oh, that's a very common mistake. You'd be surprised.
That's fascinating. I would not expect that.
It might explain why my cat has a objection to its presence. Wait a minute. Hold on. I think my cat is now going through a seizure. I'll have to call you back, Alex.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening, David. That was a very, very good phone call. Hopefully your cat will be alright and your LG coffee maker will still be working next time you call. Alright, Professor Rigardi. Right now we have another question from one of our online listeners.
Alright.
Let's see.
Lindsay Carl asks, can my tulpa be an anime character?
That's a good question, Lindsay. Actually, a tulpa can be modeled after any sort of thing you envision. So, if what you envision your tulpa as is an anime character, then yes, it will become manifested in that image.
I'm sure she'll be very happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very, very insightful. Alright, we have another caller on the line. Let's see, we've got David calling from Carlsbad. David, you're on the air.
Hello, Papa John's?
Hello.
Hello, David.
This is not Papa John's. This is WXDD 92.3. I'm Alex Jones. No relation to InfoWars Alex Jones. Yeah, this is a call-in radio show, sir.
Oh, well, I'm a Pisces myself.
And the call
well,
just dropped. Well,
wow.
on to the next caller.
Whew. All right, next caller. We've got David calling in from Los Angeles, California. David, you're on the air.
David.
David?
Hello.
Hi.
LG 1-800.
And he dropped off again. That's very strange.
Very, very, very
Somebody,
strange how that happened.
they must be on to us.
All right, so we have another internet question. Let's take a look.
This one is from Brian Hartley. He asks, can I fuck my tulpa? Very interesting question.
Brian. First off, this is, and I feel like I should address this now, because this is one of the more common questions that people have about tulpas. And the short of it is, you can, but you shouldn't.
And why is
And
that?
the long of it is, let's just say you might not die, but it would be very painful.
Oh, well, that's how it goes when you try to pull it off. All right, so right now we've got another caller calling us from Cincinnati. We've got David on line 1. David, you're on the air.
Hello, David.
Hello. I had this question that
I'm sorry, it was actually me.
Oh,
Hi,
well,
David.
welcome back.
I had. Sorry, there was some.
He got dropped again.
Wow.
How does that keep happening?
It's almost as if someone in the control booth is hanging up on him. All right, we've got another online message. Dr. Irving, tell us about it.
All right. This one is from Earl Landon. He asks, what if my Tulpa makes the first move?
That's a very good question. What
Very
if
good.
the Tulpa wants a relationship and it makes the first move?
Okay, alright, this can be a very, very sticky situation. This can be, if not handled with tact and delicacy, this could be a situation that escalates far past the point that you would ever be comfortable with. And my best advice to give can't be objective, because the way that you deal with a situation like this, it very much depends on your and your Tulpa's temperament. Now, if your Tulpa has developed a will enough to make the first move in a romantic relationship, then that means that it's already developed a will of its own, and at the same time, you're still mentally and emotionally connected to it, in that, you know, it's a manifestation of strong emotional, mental work. So my best advice would be that you need to de-escalate the situation. If you're placed in this situation, you need to make sure that it doesn't happen, but not in a way that will cause your Tulpa to become angry at you.
Fascinating.
Diplomatic solutions.
Yeah, you need to work the diplomacy a little bit.
We don't want another Cuban
Would
Missile
you-
Crisis, do we?
Would you compare it to the tensions during the 80s between the United States and the Soviet Union?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. What a comparison that is. That's actually very apt. Because, as we know, during the Cold War, there was a looming threat of nuclear war. And diplomacy between the two countries, the Soviet Union and the United States, was of utmost importance, because none of us wanted to be involved in a nuclear war. And it's a very similar situation if your Tulpa makes romantic or amorous advances towards you, because it could be very, very dangerous, and I mean beyond what you might even think, what you might fear.
That's fascinating.
Very
Absolutely fascinating. Yes. All right, and right now we've got another caller calling us from Cucamonga. We've got David. David, you're on the air.
It turns out I have brought something to my attention. There is actually 3 tulpas in my foot closet where I keep the kitty litter. Can it be a replacement for a deodorant, my tulpa?
I'm afraid that's still not quite what a tulpa is.
I might be thinking of a towel, but I do have something that my grandmother gave me when I was just a young Pete Squeak. It's a whole box of baseball cards, but one of them looks like a tulpa.
What's the name on the baseball card?
George Costanza.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Hold on, I gotta ask my wife something. Yeah.
No.
Hold on, you're interrupting me in a conversation with my wife.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry.
You want to talk to him? Hello, I'm David's wife, Linda.
Hi, David's wife.
Hello, Linda. You're on the air.
I had a question about my husband's condition. He believes that the house is made of tulpas. Let me speak. Yes, he believes that the house is actually in spirit a tulpa. Can the tulpa resonate within a household?
Now, Professor Rigardi, is it possible that Mr. David's wife, Linda, is actually a tulpa?
That's entirely within the realm of reason, yes. I would say that that may even be likely.
Linda, are you a tulpa right now?
Oh, it's David right now.
Oh,
Linda
hello,
has to
David.
go in the bathroom. She has to put on her night cream.
Fascinating.
What was
Now-
the question, Alex?
I was wondering, is it possible that your wife is a tulpa?
She actually died 10 minutes ago.
So she's a ghost.
No, she's more of a insurance policy.
Absolutely fascinating.
Very
Absolutely
fascinating.
fascinating.
I have to go. Before I
Well,
go,
thank you for your call. I'm sure the police are right on their way. And let's see, we've got another internet message. Professor Diodoros.
All right, let's see. What do we have? Gray Owen asks, can I feed my tulpa if I want to? And does my tulpa need to be fed?
Well, for the first part of your question, yes, you could feed your tulpa, provided that it is advanced to the point where it has assumed a physical form or has manifested physically, and that it has a mouth. Then yes, you could reasonably feed your tulpa. You could. That's definitely something that you could do. However, your tulpa would not need to be fed, because instead of a being that has been created out of material, a tulpa is a mental, spiritual, emotional being, and so it doesn't feed off of air, sunlight, water, food like you or I do. It actually feeds off of the mental energy that you put into it.
That's absolutely fascinating.
Actually,
Fascinating,
I have one more internet question.
Oh, let's see.
It is from Sammy Garnett, and he asks, can my tulpa go Super Saiyan if given enough energy?
No, that's a very interesting question. Professor Gardy.
Well, Sammy, that's actually something that a lot of people have brought up, and something that definitely requires an amount of caution on the part of people who are creating tulpas. And what the problem is you don't want your tulpa to become so powerful and so power hungry that it actually destroys you, or you don't want it to become so powerful that it could kill you necessarily, until you've reached far past a point of any advice I could give you in creating a tulpa. But
Oh,
That's absolutely fascinating.
you can overpower your tulpa if you haven't formed it fully enough.
all right. Do we have a caller, or shall we move on to more internet questions?
Let's see. We've got we've got a caller right here. We've got David calling us from New York City. David, you're on the air.
hello, I'm calling from the coal mine. That's
Oh.
my pick. I had a question because this new job that I just got is telling me that I qualify for Tulpa insurance. Is that something I can get?
Is Tulpa insurance something you can get, Professor Gardy?
I don't believe that any insurance companies currently offer coverage for tulpas. No.
Is there any reason specifically why they wouldn't provide insurance for a tulpa?
It could be very difficult discerning whether it would be a piece of property like a pet, or whether it would be considered its own separate entity like another person. This could be a very gray legal area. and it's just not widespread enough, or the awareness of it isn't as widespread to draw any notable attention from insurance companies now.
Okay, so David, you said you're working in the coal mine. Is that correct?
Well, actually, I'm at the premiere of the movie E.T. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I have. Very, very good classic Spielberg film from
Very
the
good movie.
1980s. Yeah. You're at the premiere right now.
Yes, that is correct.
Is it possible, Professor Rigardi, that David is traveling through time in some sort of alternate universe in which tulpas are insured?
I think that is a brilliant working theory for what's going on right now, and it definitely would explain all of the strange phenomena that David is experiencing.
Absolutely fascinating. David, tell us about the premiere. Where are you? Are the laws of physics still operating the same way that they should under normal circumstances?
I'll tell you one thing, Alex. I have systematically taken all the yellow Reese Pieces out of my bag and I put them in my hand because I believe the yellow ones are the superior ones.
Fascinating.
That's absolutely fascinating. All right, so thank you for your call, and looks like we've got another internet question.
All right. Dana asks, are you sure my Tulpa can't be my GF?
Yes, I will just go ahead and say I am sure that you should not have a tulpa of your creation as your girlfriend.
All right, and we've got another caller. We've got David calling us from Arlington, West Virginia. David, you're on the air.
These are so good. Listen, I've been listening to this show for about 35 years, and I've had the same question burning through my head. And that question is, when can I purchase tickets for ET2?
That's a very interesting question. Oh, Professor Rigardi, do you have any information regarding the production of ET2?
I'm afraid I don't.
Oh, we're very sorry, David.
Actually-
All right, we've got another caller on the line. We've got David calling us from Miami Beach. David, you're on the air.
Help me, I can't seem to find my house. It's been 35 years and I can't seem to be in the same state that I used to be in before this even occurred. I was once in Miami and now I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Oh no, my voice is
Oh my God, we just lost him. Well, we've got another internet question. Dr. D. Doris, let's see what we've got.
All right. Jerry Lindy asks, if I cum in my sock, does my sock become the tulpa? What if it's a lot of cum?
That's a very interesting question.
No, it's not an interesting question. That's
Is it not?
I'm
That's
so
a very
sorry.
uninteresting question, and my lawyers have advised that I don't answer that question. Let's move
boy.
on to the next question, shall we?
All right, well, actually, we're getting really close to the end of this half-hour segment.
I think we can do
yeah,
one,
just
two more questions.
one more question. All right, let's see what we've got there.
Well, this one is from Quentin, and he asks, are you sure I can't come in my sock and it be a tulpa? I heard this on the MLP forums.
Now, Quentin,
Thank you, Quentin, for writing that question. That's very interesting.
well, your first problem, Quentin, is that you're taking advice from the My Little Pony forums. And your second mistake there is that no, a tulpa does not work in the way that a sigil works, where you can charge a sigil by ejaculating onto it or burning it or what have you. That's just not the kind of business that we're dealing with when we're creating a tulpa. It's purely mental.
Now, if I may interrupt, we've been getting a lot of My Little Pony questions in our feed. So, for the next episode, we have to say, please don't ask those questions. We will not answer them.
For legal reasons, and
Mostly for legal reasons, and for
mostly
our mental health.
Yeah, that. All right. So, well, we've got one more caller. We've got David. He's calling us from Cucamonga. David, you're on the air.
I'm too baked for this.
Turns out that I was using a different kind of vaporizer. And what I mean by a vaporizer, it is something you put in your room at night to help your breathing problems. And I don't know if you know this, Alex, but I have a breathing problem where I cannot seem to pass wind through my nostrils. And I may or may not have accidentally poured oxycodone into the vaporizer and have been hallucinating for the past 3 days.
Well, that would explain the time travel, but it doesn't.
That would
It doesn't explain
explain
the
a lot
caller
of
ID.
things.
I seem to have a cape as well.
Is it possible that you have become some sort of superhero, like the Batman?
Well, there's tomato sauce on it, so I don't know what my superpower would be, Alex.
Is it possible that you are Ragu Man?
That's against my religion, Alex.
Well, I'm so sorry. Looks like we're running out of time. We've got one more internet question. This one comes from Charlie Rose, and it says, "Where did you learn about tulpas?"
Well, where I learned about tulpas was when I was younger. I actually stumbled upon some writing on the internet regarding tulpas, and that really sparked an interest in the subject from a young age for me. And I went from there. I went went through college. I went for a year to Tibet. It was very difficult to do.
Fascinating.
And I actually lived amongst the Tibetan Buddhist monks and studied tulpa forcing, as it's called, up close and personal from the masters of the form.
That's fascinating. Is there anything that you do that aids you in the process of tulpa creation?
Well, one thing that definitely helps is the inhalation of cannabinoid smoke. That can really, yes, especially if you have a misaligned sacral or root chakra.
Fascinating.
And that can definitely help.
All right. So, do you personally have your own tulpa?
Oh yes, of course.
No, and what is it exactly? If you don't mind me asking.
My tulpa is a female companion that I've created, who is very, very attached emotionally to me, and created this companion to go with me out to eat, to movie theaters, to advise me, to console me, to give me release.
Fascinating.
And
Fascinating.
Very fascinating.
And let's see, Professor Diodoros, it looks like we've got one more internet question.
Do we?
Do we?
You know what? We're fresh out.
Oh, geez. Well, oh, wait, hold on. I think we have a caller.
Oh.
David, are you there?
Hello, you woke me up from my power nap.
Oh,
Are you calling me or am I calling you? Knock, knock.
I'm not even sure anymore.
Listen,
I've
been having this issue since I woke up from my vapor-induced hallucination, and it seems that I have may or may not have fact butt-dialed this station.
absolutely fascinating.
How many times? How many times?
Is that your son?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, goodbye.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this evening, Professor Rigardi. It has been a pleasure.
oh, the pleasure has been all mine.
All right, and thank you for telling us about your tulpa.
Absolutely.
Is there any perhaps like I don't know any visual representation we might have to possibly imagine what your tulpa might be?
Well, it's very simple. What you would have to imagine is a female, fairly on the younger side, with blue hair,
Oh.
arranged in a kind of a bowl cut, kind of a bob situation.
Okay.
She has a generally aloof demeanor.
That's right.
She's oftentimes wearing a white bodysuit.
Interesting.
Absolutely fascinating. Is this based on any real person or possibly fictional character?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that right at this juncture.
All right. Well, we'll have to move on from there. Although I seem to be getting there's one more internet question. All right.
Internet question?
Internet
Oh.
question.
I'm sorry. I was doing something. Ferdy asks, is it Ray from Neon Genesis Evangelion?
I'm sorry. I'm not. I think it's time for me to. I think I have an appointment
Well,
upcoming.
well,
I thank you very much for your time.
well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, that was Professor Rigardi from the Tulpa
Institute.
Research Institute, and
Yeah.
here we are right now. End of the show this evening. So I'm Alex Jones, no relation to Alex Jones from what is it, Free Domain Radio? Anyway, yeah, no relation to Alex Jones, and with me always, my companion, my friend, my spiritual advisor, Professor Irving Diodoros.
Hello. Yeah.
All right, and well, you should say goodbye since this is the end of the show.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and it was nice as always. This is WX15. 92.3 Radio. Bye.
Alright, and we'll see you next time. Okay, good night.
X Radio. Paranormal Talk.